All right, today we're tackling a pretty massive idea. What if we could use artificial intelligence to solve the world's biggest problems? It's an amazing thought, but as we're about to see, the line between a global savior and, well, a digital dictator can be terrifyingly thin. So we're diving into that debate. Is the future of AI about governance, or is it really about control?
So let's just jump right in with a question that gets to the absolute heart of it. Just imagine an AI that's powerful enough to coordinate a global response to something like climate change or pandemics or extreme poverty. A single, unified plan to save us all. It sounds incredible, doesn't it? Almost utopian. But what's the catch? What would be the price for that kind of unity?
And this is where we get to the core idea. AI as a global enforcer. Look, we face these huge existential risks that demand we all work together. The problem is, having thousands of different, competing plans is basically a recipe for disaster. So the premise here is, it's simple and it's really seductive. What if we had just one clear set of goals for the entire planet?
And there's actually a name for this concept, MIP, which stands for the Most Important Plans for the Planet. Now, this isn't about some vague, fuzzy ideals. No, this is a framework for specific, measurable goals, things like hitting climate targets or preserving biodiversity. The whole idea is to have one clear, focused plan for our collective survival, cutting through all the noise of everyone just doing their own thing.
Okay, so here's the logical next step in that line of thinking. If we have these incredibly important plans, we've got to make sure everyone actually sticks to them, right? So, the proposal is to use a powerful AI as a kind of policy enforcer, and its job to monitor every nation, every corporation, and make absolutely sure they are in compliance with the MIP. On the surface, it sounds like the ultimate tool for global accountability.
But you know how it goes. Every utopia has its shadow. This idea of a single enforced plan, it comes at a really steep price. And when you start to unpack the dangers, that beautiful, orderly vision, it begins to look very, very different.
And honestly, this quote says it all. The very solution that's designed to save us could end up creating a new kind of prison. A world where a single automated system has the power to enforce its will on a global scale. This is exactly where that dream of perfect order crashes right into the nightmare of total control.
And this is really where you can see the fundamental conflict laid out. On one side, centralized goals promise efficiency and coordinated action, but on the other side, the risk is just immense. Oppression, the suppression of local cultures, and even what some are calling cultural homogenization. It's a direct, unavoidable trade-off between unity and freedom.
And this gets us to maybe the biggest, most dangerous question of all. Who decides? Who gets to define what's in the MIP? Because if it's just a handful of powerful nations or giant tech corporations defining the most important plans for everybody else, well, that's not global cooperation, is it? It's technocratic rule, and it completely bypasses democracy. The power to define the goals becomes the power to control the entire world.
So, how would this enforcement actually work? Well, a couple of primary methods come to mind. First, you've got nudging, using manipulative information and incentives to subtly push nations into line. And for those who don't comply, sanctions. An AI could just block access to financial systems or critical digital infrastructure, essentially creating a form of digital martial law. And all of this would happen without a trial, without an appeal, and without any human in the loop whatsoever.
There's a really great analogy to help us understand this. Enforcing a single MIP is like having one centrally controlled railroad. Yeah, it's incredibly efficient at getting everyone to the exact same destination. But what if you need to go somewhere else? Well, you're penalized. A democratic approach, on the other hand, is more like a complex road network. It can be chaotic, for sure, but it allows every driver, every nation, the freedom to choose their own path.
Okay, so if enforcement is the wrong path, and it really seems like it is, then what's the alternative? If we want to use AI for global good without sacrificing our freedom, we need to completely shift our focus. We need to start thinking about governance, not enforcement. And luckily, there is a better path forward.
And this is the key difference right here. An enforcement AI dictates what we must do. It imposes a single policy from the top down. But a governance framework is totally different. It focuses on how we do things. It doesn't set the goal for us, but it makes sure that whatever goal we decide to pursue, we do it responsibly and accountably, from the bottom up.
This is the middle ground, the real sweet spot. Instead of some global AI dictator, we can have global standards.
Think of them like a shared rulebook. These standards don't tell anyone what policies to create. Instead, they just focus on process integrity, making sure that the AI systems we all build and use are safe, transparent, and fair.
All right, so what does this blueprint for responsible AI actually look like in practice? Let's get specific and explore a key global standard that's already making this a reality. This is ISO/IEC 42001. It's a global standard for something called an Artificial Intelligence Management System, or AIMS. Really, you can just think of it like a quality control system, but for AI. Its entire purpose is to provide a shared, auditable framework for any organization that's building this technology. It's not about what the AI's goal is, it's about making the development process itself responsible and trustworthy.
And the impact of a standard like this is huge. It completely shifts the entire incentive structure of AI development. It moves companies away from just, plain money-making towards responsible money-making. All of a sudden, ethical concerns aren't just a nice-to-have thing you put on your website, they become a mandatory, verifiable part of doing business.
So what does the standard actually make companies do? Well, for starters, it mandates processes to find and mitigate bias. Second, it requires transparency. No more black box AIs. Their decisions have to be explainable. Third, it demands human oversight, giving people the right to appeal an AI's decision to a real person. And finally, it forces organizations to manage ethical and societal risks with the same seriousness they apply to financial risks.
There's another really great analogy for this. Think of this standard as mandating seatbelts, airbags, and brakes in every single car. It doesn't tell you where to drive, it doesn't care what your destination is, it just makes sure the vehicle is built to a common standard of safety and accountability for everyone else on the road.
And this last analogy really hits the nail on the head. Using AI to enforce a global policy is like using a carpenter's tape measure to tell everyone what kind of house they have to live in. That's just the wrong way to use the tool. The right way is to use it to ensure that whatever kind of house you decide to build, it's constructed with consistent quality and safety. It's a tool for quality, not a blueprint for morality.
Okay, so at the end of the day, all of this boils down to a fundamental choice we have to make about our future with AI. We're kind of caught between these two extremes, and the path we choose is going to define the next century.
And this is the dilemma, right? It's all right here. On one side, you have the path of pluralism, of democratic freedom. Its great benefit is autonomy, but its risk is the potential chaos of everyone pulling in different directions. On the other side is the path of unity. The benefit there is coordinated action, but the risk is absolute, digital totalitarianism.
So here's the big takeaway from all this. The answer isn't to build some all-powerful AI enforcer to solve our problems for us. The answer is to build a foundation of responsible governance. We use global standards to make sure that all AIs are built safely, and that then allows for AI-supported coordination and decentralized policymaking to flourish on top of it.
And that, right there, is the power of one. See, we don't want one plan or one goal or one morality imposed on the entire world. But we absolutely benefit from having one common language, one shared standard for how to build AI responsibly. That single framework is what enables a whole world of diverse, safe, and innovative applications.
And that leaves us with one final massive question. AI is already shaping our world, and its influence is only going to grow. The question is no longer if it will build our future, but how. So, will we hand the blueprint over to a centralized, automated enforcer, or will we build that future together on a shared foundation of democratic values and responsible innovation? The choice really is ours.